When responding to emergency incidents, members of the Regional Public Safety Answering Points, or PSAPs, associated with the ORION system can rely on it for rapid and reliable communication between member public safety agencies. The ORION system serves the greater Hampton Roads region, and it provides coverage to the 7 core cities of Hampton Roads and beyond, to the areas of Franklin, Isle of Wight, Surrey, James City County, Gloucester, Poquoson, Williamsburg, and York County. Regional users also include state agencies and area colleges. ORION allows public safety users to roam throughout the coverage area and communicate with their own agency, other ORION agencies, and public safety answering points, also known as communication centers. The system provides coverage using both portable and mobile radios, but the coverage area is improved when the more powerful mobile radios are used. ORION agencies are represented by 2 groups: the ORION Advisory Group, or OAG, and the ORION Steering Committee, or OSC. The OAG is made up of representatives who are public safety members of each ORION member agency. These are ORION users who meet to discuss the needs of the members regarding interoperable communications. These needs are communicated to the OSC. The OSC members are primarily radio engineers and IT experts from the ORION member cities. The OSC is responsible for overseeing the operation and maintenance of the network and the administration of the grants and funding that support it. In line with the National Incident Management System, or NIMS, ORION provides a system for command and control during an emergency. The incident commander is responsible for frontline management of the incident and tactical planning and execution as the incident dictates. ORION is configured in talk groups, often referred to as channels by public safety members. The categories of these talk groups are set up and named in accordance with the Incident Command System naming protocol. The categories are Incident Command, Operations, Planning, Logistics, and Finance and Administration. The talk groups are set up in 2 zones, with 16 talk groups in each zone. The zone designations on any particular radio system vary from one agency or jurisdiction to the next, but the talk group configuration within the zones is the same. The Public Safety Answering Points, or PSAPs, for each jurisdiction monitor the ORION network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Each monitors talk group IC1 at all times. IC1 is not a primary talk group for any dispatch position to monitor. It's turned up so it can be heard by anyone in the PSAP if a user is hailing a PSAP on that talk group. This ensures that each PSAP is able to respond to any incident or request for assistance from any public safety or agency member. If a situation calls for multiple incidents to be handled on the ORION system, the allocation of available channels is determined by the on-scene communication unit leaders, or COMLs, involved. The COMLs communicate with the logistics section chiefs, or the incident commanders, via IC1. The COMLs together determine the most effective use of the ORION talk groups. A communication unit leader is a public safety member who has been trained and certified through communication leader training. Working under the logistics section with the incident commander, the COML plans and manages the technical and operational aspects of communication during an incident, event, or exercise, coordinating on-scene emergency and multi-agency communications. The COML creates a communications plan for the incident, establishes a communications center, and establishes communication between incident command and the PSAPs. The COML identifies the appropriate talk groups, coordinates the distribution of radios, and facilitates interfaces as required. If any non-ORION agencies respond to or support an incident, each PSAP can create radio patches on their consoles between the ORION channels and any non-ORION agency channels, if those channels are programmed into their dispatch consoles. If the PSAP responsible for a significant incident does not have the non-ORION agency's channels programmed in their console, that agency or the designated dispatcher may contact any COMLs responsible for the incident and request a mobile patch be created. The COMLs will then create a mobile patch or otherwise identify the most effective means of facilitating interoperability. Based on the size and type of incident, the incident commander may request that one or more dispatch positions be established specifically in support of the incident. This request will be received and supported in accordance with each PSAP's established policies or protocols. The ability to establish the requested dispatch positions will assist in more effective and efficient management of the incident and any request for resources or assistance. The following incident illustrates the benefit of using ORION to manage a large-scale incident involving multiple agencies from various jurisdictions. A commuter aircraft departs Norfolk International Airport at 1:25 p.m. Shortly after liftoff, the aircraft declares an emergency and requests an emergency landing on runway 5 north. The tower grants the request and alerts airport fire and rescue of the emergency landing. Unfortunately, the aircraft crashes north of East Princess Anne Road in Fox Hill Park, a mile and a half short of the runway. The tower notifies the Norfolk PSAP about the downed aircraft and its approximate location. At the same time, the PSAP begins receiving 911 calls, primarily from cell phone callers in the area of the downed aircraft. They describe multiple fires and damage to both residential and commercial buildings. The PSAP issues a multiple dispatch for police, fire, and EMS response. The first duty fire chief reports a major fire centered at the location of the aircraft with several collateral building fires. He also reports heavy structural and utility damage over a radius of more than 3 blocks, and he reports survivors on the aircraft and mass casualties over the entire area. The on-scene fire chief requests additional resources and begins to establish a fire ground command post. The airport dispatches fire and EMS resources to the crash site, and they notify the FAA. The Norfolk PSAP elevates the incident to second and third alarm status and activates the Norfolk Emergency Operations Center, or EOC. The PSAP also notifies surrounding jurisdictions of the situation and requests additional resources. The Norfolk EOC begins to coordinate resources. The COML establishes the Public Safety Radio Interoperability Plan and coordinates the movement of all command and control functions related to a unified command to designated ORION talk groups. ORION use is established for command structure interoperability communications. Local hospitals are notified and requested to activate mass casualty plans. Private ambulance companies, mortuaries, and wrecker and hauling companies are notified. The fire director coordinates and positions fire resources, including fire ground command and search and rescue operations. The law enforcement director does the same for law enforcement resources, establishing perimeter control and coordinating search and rescue operations. The EMS director activates mass casualty and mass fatality plans. The EOC incident commander uses the radio interoperability plan to communicate with unit directors, to activate district EOCs, and to activate support organizations. Throughout the emergency, ORION gives emergency personnel the ability to communicate seamlessly across the region, to coordinate the efforts of responding units, and to reach back to localities to request additional support. It also lessens the load on the participating agencies' communication systems. With or without ORION, public safety members involved in an incident will work together to bring it to a successful conclusion. Consider the tornadoes experienced in Suffolk or the peninsula, or any large-scale incident you as a public safety member have been involved in, and the difficulties you experienced with communications between all involved jurisdictions and their agencies. It's clear from this example that any large or rapidly evolving incident can be more effectively and efficiently managed on the ORION system. This is only one example of the types of incidents for which the ORION system provides a more efficient and effective means of communicating between agencies and departments and managing the resources involved. For large-scale incidents involving multiple agencies and jurisdictions, ORION provides a means for the section chiefs, as part of incident command, to more effectively communicate with each other and request and manage resources. All public safety members in the field supporting the incident or incidents operate on designated local channels for the jurisdiction where the incidents occur. The COML is responsible for identifying what those talk groups will be as part of the incident's communications plan. When an incident or training exercise has ended, the COML for each incident provides the ORION Advisory Group a written after-action review about any issues related to communications within 30 days. This after-action review includes the information about all participating agencies, the talk groups that were used, the name, date, and time of the incident or exercise, a summary of the event, and any information specific to the use of ORION. including its successful use and any issues or suggestions for improvement. A template for this AAR can be found at the Department of Homeland Security website. The OAG will review the report, provide direction as necessary, and forward any recommendations to the ORION Steering Committee. The ORION system is tested every week. The Virginia Beach PSAP is responsible for these tests, which are conducted every Wednesday at 0400 hours. At that time, a designated Virginia Beach dispatcher attempts to contact every other ORION member PSAP on IC1. If a PSAP doesn't respond, the designated Virginia Beach dispatcher calls the non-responsive PSAP via landline to determine the reason for not responding. Each weekly system test is documented and forwarded to the OAG chairman. If any PSAP has a problem with the ORION system, it's reported to their designated radio maintenance personnel according to their protocols. Online training for ORION can be found at the ORION website's online training portal. The online training consists of 3 modules for ORION public safety members: an overview of ORION for all ORION users, ORION information specific to PSAPs, and information specific to Incident Command. The website is also available for members of the Advisory Group and Steering Committee to access ORION information and other resources. Thank you for participating in this training module for the ORION Voice Interoperability System. Each ORION member agency has designated members who serve as part of the previously mentioned ORION Advisory Group, OAG. For any questions related to ORION or for further information, please contact a designated OAG member for your agency. If you do not know who your designated ORION member representative is, please check with the appropriate member of your agency.